Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 17th of September. Now, last week we saw the US dollar start to decline in value, and it started to put in some pretty well structured short trends on those mid time frames, which is kind of the first time it's been doing that for quite some time. It's been range bound for quite a few weeks now, if not months. So today we actually thought that, and this week we were looking for a continuation of a weak US dollar, but that hasn't necessarily sort of played out to date. The US dollar has strengthened this morning. It's still looking rather mixed, and this, of course, is on the backdrop of continuing sort of trade talks and trade rhetoric going on around those Chinese trade tariffs. So volatility in the US dollar is certainly something that looks set to continue. So let's take a look at some of these markets that we're going to be focusing on in the trading room this week. Now, considering the US dollar and the potential volatility that we could see in there, we wanted to have a look at some of these dollar markets, and one that I'm quite keen on here is dollar yen. So the reason for this is that even whilst we've been having all these trade tariff discussions and the volatility on the back of that, the macro picture for this market has been sort of fairly strong. You know, the weekly trend here is strong. The market sort of managed to break out from 111, and now it's sitting quite nicely at another key price point, which is 112. So if we have a look at this on the daily chart, we can see here on the daily that the market's sort of broken out from this sort of range. We're now sitting right at the top of the range, and there's, you know, these are key decision points. There's one or two things going to happen. It's either going to sort of fail here, the market's going to roll back to 111 or 111,500, then 111, or we're going to get a breakout to the long side. At the moment, I'm favouring a breakout. I'd like to see a breakout, and that's the sort of opportunities I'm stalking. And the reason being is that above 112, there doesn't look an awful lot in the way of potential resistance for the market to reach 113. So, you know, that's the sort of window of price opportunity that I'm looking at for trading opportunities. If we come down to the lower time frames here, come and have a look at the mid time frames, and we can see that we have got albeit volatile, we've got a trend structure here in place. We've got this 111 level that the market sort of tested a few times before, and the market's just sort of like poised at this moment in time, deciding whether 112 is going to be support or whether it's going to be resistance. As I say, you know, at the moment, we've still got convergence on the indicators, and, you know, prices, or if price breaks above 112, 1200, I'll be looking at opportunities to get positioned to trade that towards that 113 area. Now, the other market that I'm liking the look of, and we're going to keep an eye on in the trading room, is CAD Swiss. Now, the CAD is sort of fairly weak at the moment, and we had some trades on this last week on this market. So last week we managed to capture a couple of targets on this sort of move short. So this was on the back of the fact that the market here, if we have a look at this on the daily, that the daily chart is in a downtrend, and that we'd sort of like put in a rolling top here into the moving averages, and we were looking for opportunities short. Now, we traded it short down to just above 7,400. The 7,400 level, as we can see, is a key decision point here in this market. And what we're keen to see is if the market can continue to weaken here and break below 7,400, then there doesn't look anything in the way for a potential move down here towards the old low, which is just shy of 7,300, and then possibly for a continuation of that trend. So at the moment, what we're doing is looking for opportunities short should the market break underneath that sort of 74 level. At the moment today, we've still seen some fairly significant weakness in the Canadian dollar, which is sort of facilitating short prices at the moment. Now, the other market that we continue to want to keep an eye on here is the NASDAQ. Now, last week we were looking at long opportunities here on the NASDAQ. I'm still liking the NASDAQ long. It's the sort of pick out of the US index markets for me. If we look at the weekly chart and the monthly, they're in sort of very nice sort of structured, strong long trends. The even coming down to the sort of lower time frames here, or the mid time frames, I should say, like on the sort of daily chart and the 4-hour, the market's broken above 7,500 here, which has been a sort of key level on the daily. And now here on the 4-hour, if we open this up, we can see that the market has really tested these lows a number of times now, and there's significant support underneath price. So we got support at 7,400, 7,450 and 7,500. The market's clearly above those sort of levels now. We could even start to mark in some structure here on these lower time, or these 4-hour time frames, where we can see that there's been resistance, support, resistance. The market's sort of kind of sitting up against those sort of levels at the moment. But even if sort of 75.50 doesn't hold on an intraday basis, we can see what's happened before. From an intraday basis, the market's just come down to the next level. It's found support, it's moved back up again. Even if 7500 can't hold, the market tends to be holding at 74.50 for quite some time now. So if there is resistance underneath price holding it up, then my sort of favor for opportunities here is for this long trend to continue. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on for trading opportunities in the trading room. I certainly hope it helps and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.